If there's one thing you would say that Tottenham Hotspur lacked over the last few years, it would be creativity. They're attempting to fix that by signing James Maddison, and today we're going to be heading to the tactics board to talk about how he improves them. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new, you like the video, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss an upload. But now, let's talk about how James Maddison improves Tottenham Hotspur. Here we have James Maddison in this Tottenham Hotspur team, and I've got to say, James Maddison in this side is just a different proposition. It automatically changes the way that Tottenham would set up and the way that it would play, and it allows them so much more freedom. As you can see, we've got him here in this central attacking midfield role. It's the place that he wants to play. It gives him the most freedom, but at the same time, he's so creative, and it just gives him that freedom, that option to be able to drift into different spaces. With Ange Postecoglou, we know that he likes to have the fullbacks come inside to hold in some midfield positions. This unlocks the likes of the two central defensive midfielders to go forwards and support the more attacking, forward-thinking players. This will be James Maddison, and it really unlocks him and allows him to drift into these two spaces that I have highlighted here. In doing so, he's going to be obviously more difficult to pick up, but at the same time you can have link play with the two wingers on either side who will be spreading the play, holding the touchline and making sure there's enough space for him to drift in and out. Watch out for his really darting runs through into the box to try and create some space for both the wingers to then cut inside, but at the same time be able to give Harry Kane the amount of space and just sheer running power that he needs to be able to give himself the extra 5 yards to be able to get into the box. A lot has been made on Harry Kane, and it's been astonishing the fact that he's been able to have so many goals in such a poor performing creative side. But with James Maddison inside, I don't think that's going to be a problem anymore. He's going to be able to find him more often than not. And it's really his eye for a killer pass that I think is going to be the most accurate thing that really propels Tottenham forwards. It's the most crucial thing. If Harry Kane is in a spot of space and James Maddison can play a little darting cross round or even perhaps a little through ball into the box, Harry Kane will take that chance. We know he will. So, with this real freedom and creativity, it enables some of the players to go forwards. James Maddison can find those, and all of a sudden, with a creative aspect in the side and a player that's dedicated himself to wanting to create for others and make sure that he can give them opportunities, give them space to be able to get Tottenham on the front foot, it automatically has a different mental aspect on the side. All of a sudden you can see players wanting to go forwards, fill the box, make sure they get into the area, make sure the winger on the back post can get himself into the box, because you know that the quality of delivery is going to be there from the likes of a James Maddison. It is a brilliant signing, but this is not the only way that I can see him really helping out and working with Tottenham Hotspur. Here is another way. Here is his link up with Harry Kane. Now, what we normally have with Harry Kane is his real ability to drop deep, make sure that he's able to just find those pockets of space deep in the midfield and allow these two wingers to come inside. That's not how this is going to work, I don't think. I think generally, more often than not, you're going to see these two defensive central midfielders really try to find James Maddison. Then it's going to be down to him, and him mainly alone, to be able to find out the pockets of space down the wings. But this frees up Harry Kane to a ridiculous degree. No longer does he have to drift in to try and create for others. Now he can focus on being within the box, and that is a change to his game that he hasn't been able to make for so many years. Now, a lot of people might say, well, Harry Kane likes doing that. That's what he's good at. That's what he's fine at. Yes, that is true, and with his loss of pace that he's had over the couple of years, you have seen the likes of Son and Kulusevski start to drift in field, but it makes Tottenham very narrow. If you can have the wingers really hold their positions so they're not having to make runs for Harry Kane, what you end up getting is Harry Kane closer to goal and closer to the centre of the pitch. This means that James Maddison can do the hard work by drifting into these pockets of space that we've highlighted here, and it just means that Harry Kane can focus on his game of being a striker, and who knows, he might even get more goals, if that is even possible, considering the creativity that James Maddison will have, considering the wide play that will come from the wingers and the defensive structure that will come from the fullbacks coming into midfield. James Maddison, believe it or not, unlocks all of this because it means there is a creative outlet for this Spurs side to be able to go forwards rather than just haphazardly predicting or asking Harry Kane to do it more often than not. But as I've said, James Maddison is not just a player for one typical scenario. He's actually very, very flexible, and it means that he can be integrated into different areas, such as this one. Here he is in a completely different formation. This is a 4-3-3. We have James Maddison out on this left attacking midfield position, almost the left 8 if you will, and it just is a different example of the way that James Maddison can assist this Tottenham Hotspur side. Now don't get me wrong, Ange Postecoglou doesn't tend to play a 4-3-3, but perhaps he might feel like it is the best way forwards in this Premier League. And in that, you need to have variety. You need to have the ability to change up your tactics. Variety is the spice of life, as they always say. And James Maddison could fit this left-hand side midfield 8 role perfectly. They have the likes of a Basuma or even a Bentancur to drop a little bit deeper to hold that defensive line. And then you have the likes of even a Kulusevski to come inside and take up that right-hand side 8. But if you don't want to do that, you could always have one of the central midfielders come inside as well and then hold those positions. James Maddison could be the more forward-thinking attacking 8. Just because you're playing in a 4-3-3 does not necessarily mean that you need to have both of your 8s be attacking. You don't. Even just dropping them back a little bit, something like this, and have James Maddison push on a little bit further, not necessarily as a 4-2-3-1, but more as a dynamic triangle through the middle of the pitch. Instead of having one of the players really driving forwards, you have just a set number of attacking opportunities, and it means that James Maddison can have that freedom yet again with the defensive solidity that these two have, and then back out of possession you can change back to a more defensive position. It allows for rotation, it allows for key ideals, and speaking of rotation, it also allows for this. This is the final option that I'm going to be showing you with James Maddison. He can play out on this left-hand side or even the right-hand side. I'd prefer the left-hand side because I think he's better cutting inside on his right-hand foot, cut inside on his right foot to be able to whip those crosses in towards the likes of Harry Kane, perhaps a winger coming in at the back post, and it just means that James Maddison can then drift infield. We know that the likes of a Kulusevski likes to drift out to the wing as well. Son likes to do this well. Son comes inside more often than not now a lot of the times. Yes, he can really hug the touchline and be out wide, but he does like coming inside as well. We've seen him play that central striking role, so perhaps there is some room for rotation in certain scenarios, and James Maddison, being the flexible player that he is, gives them that option. And it's through this that he's going to be able to drift inside towards the middle of the pitch. Then you might see some darting runs from the striker going across, perhaps going into the box, and then you can see the passing through ball from James Maddison once he drifts into these more central positions. The point out of all of this is James Maddison is not a singular one kind of player. He has rotation abilities, he has the ability to play several different scenarios, several different positions, and it's through this that I think Tottenham have made a fantastic signing. They need to rebuild, and more importantly, they need a creative outlet to be able to dedicate himself to getting Tottenham those goals that they absolutely need, and really take away from the over-reliance on Harry Kane to create the goals, but not just to create the goals, but to score them as well. Giving Harry Kane that let-off and giving the wingers that let-off as well just gives Tottenham a whole load of attacking opportunity. And it's in this that I think is the most important part of James Maddison's game. The freedom that he will give Tottenham Hotspur going forwards is extremely impressive and very, very exciting indeed. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on how you believe James Maddison will impact this Tottenham Hotspur team. But for me, it's gonna be great. Thank you ever so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.